The Boy and the Heron. It's a coming-of-age story about a boy who is led into a magical world by an ominous talking heron. All right, another post-war Japanese movie. I just reviewed one last week, so why not keep the ball rolling? So in this movie, we follow Mahito. He is a young boy who just lost his mother in the war, and he is forced to move in with his new stepmom, who is also his aunt. Kind of feels like the dude's dad just went, oh, well, she looks similar. I'm sure the boy won't even notice. Mahito is clearly not okay with this big change because he's still grieving. We see him having recurring nightmares about reliving the experience of losing his mother all over again. Despite going through some very tough changes, Mahito shows us how very clever and cunning he is. He is very crafty and has these very elaborate ways of obtaining the things that he wants. This movie evokes strong feelings in us, reminding us what it's like to be a kid, or at least it did for me. We see him doing things like lying to his parents and stealing something from somebody and trading it to someone else. For some of you, memories of childhood might just be toys and games, but for me, I also remember being a little ass. So seeing Mahito pull a fast one on people, while obviously wrong, I found to be very relatable. Mahito is tempted by the promise of finding his mother by this entity known as the Gray Heron, but the heron ends up leading him into this magical world. This is where the movie gets trippy. This new reality they've stepped into is synonymous with Studio Ghibli's trademark world building. We see humanoid animals, unique dreamlike beings, and limitless possibilities. What makes this world building style so unique is that none of it is ever explained. We are completely oblivious to how magic works and the nature of the wildlife. This further evokes the feelings that we had watching movies when we were kids because it's all very innocent and we just don't really understand how anything works. It takes some time to figure out what the movie's core premise is, but I think that's just because, like most movies, we are experiencing everything from the perspective of our protagonist. And in this case, our protagonist just feels lost and unsure about what he wants or needs, but we're entertained in the process by the sense of discovery that we share with him. For this reason, like with every film from Hayao Miyazaki, you can expect what feels like a bit of an uneven story structure, but that's arguably just to contribute to losing the viewer in this magical world. It does take a while for the ball to start rolling. I want to say it wasn't until about halfway through the movie that we even see Mahito embark on this journey in this new world, and it ends very abruptly. It seemed like we were gonna get a proper epilogue, but then the credits rolled, and I was a bit confused. I do really think that there should have been at least one more scene for closure there. There were also some scene jumps that were a bit jarring. For an example, there is one scene where Mahito is talking to somebody, and then it cuts to a scene where he is in shackles. I think I was able to fill in the gaps, but it's moments like that where I just felt very distracted during the next scene because I was just trying to piece together what happened to contribute to that transition. So I generally prefer subtitles for anime and foreign films as opposed to English dub. But for this one, I did go and see the dubbed version because I was obviously just very excited about the cast. It's a stacked lineup, including Christian Bale, Mark Hamill, Willem Dafoe, and everyone was very well casted for their roles. But the one voice role that I would love to give the spotlight was definitely Robert Pattinson's. Everyone else's voices were very recognizable except for his. If you're unaware, he was the Gray Heron.
Your mother, she's awaiting your rescue.
I mean, hats off to that vocal range, dude. It really fits the character despite sounding nothing like the actor. Overall, this movie is beautiful. It's a very charming story about trudging through the hardships of being a young boy while haunted by the traumas of losing a loved one. This movie is a very good watch and a lovely note for Miyazaki to allegedly retire on. I say allegedly because we've heard him say that before and then watched him come back. If you love fantastical movies, dreamlike world building, or coming of age stories, then this movie is definitely worth your time. But if you're just not that into animated movies, or if you really need a rock solid, cohesive plot to enjoy a movie, then this one might not be for you. Thank you for watching this review. If it brought you any value at all, please consider giving it a like. It really does help the channel grow. I'll see you later this week with my reviews of Poor Things and Wonka.